Before they start laying, you must start looking for market. Market will not find you there. If you do not have passion for anything that you're going to do, you might fail to supervise it, because this kind of project is supposed to be eyes on, hands on. When I started this business, I did not start after retiring. No, I started before. You cannot begin a project when you're out of the job. The money I get on a weekly basis is higher than the money I was getting on a monthly basis in just one house.
This is a rare chance which doesn't come around easily. I'm in a farm which has survived for 8 years and it's being managed by a woman. You know, most of the farms that I've visited and they have lasted for longer periods of time, those are farms that are managed by men. But this one is being manned by a woman, and I'm super curious to find out how she has managed to do that. But before we do that, let's find out a bit about her. You're welcome to my channel.
Thank you so much, madam. My name is Olivia Bavidye. I'm a poultry farmer staying here in Nakasajja, Choga in Mukono district.
Wow, impressive. You've been doing poultry farming for 8 years.
Yes, please.
Why did you choose to do it?
First of all, it is passion.
Okay.
And before I started this business, I was a civil servant.
Okay.
And you know, civil servants, at any opportune time, you must retire, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So you must get a project that you will be doing after your retirement, and you must have that project at heart. Because it is passion, so I chose the poultry farm because here I have space and I wanted the farm to be at my house.
Okay. Let me cut you short. You mentioned about retirement. So before you decided on poultry farming, did you have this idea years before retirement or just next year to your retirement?
No, I had it before.
Okay.
Because it is a family business, and I started rearing birds way back in 2005, I think, but it was not here.
Okay.
But you know, when you're in this business, where the birds are, you must be there. So because the other time it was a bit far and supervision was a bit difficult, so I decided to put a halt on that until I get enough space to put my house and also to put the farm where I stay. So in 2018, I put up that house and I also started putting up these houses. But I started with the other one down. You will see it when we go out.
Okay.
So you begin with one, then you add on with the time. Yeah. Now this one had 1.5. It had 1.5, but of course some died along the way. But we got some challenges. They were not supposed to be 1.5 because it is small. But the person that we requested to make measurements for us, I don't know whether he did not know what to do exactly, because this house is small, it cannot house that. So the best number could be like 1-2.
Madam Olivia.
Yes.
I've walked around farms and I've never seen such an organized farm. I just love the layout. So I just want you to share with us some of the tips of how you run your farm effectively.
Now, first of all, you see these lines of feeders. Let me start from here inside. You see these lines of feeders. You see the feeders are in the lines. Now, when you're laying birds, when you're rearing birds, you're supposed to have the line of feeders. The next line must be drinkers or water. Then the next line is feeds. After the feeds, the next line must be water. Because when the bird eats from this one, when it turns around, it is supposed to get water. It is not supposed to look for water, because for it does not understand that now the feed is here, now I am going there to get water. No. So if it turns like this, it must get water. If it turns like this, it must get feed. That is why you see these ones are in the line, and after the line of feeders, then we go to the water points, like that, up to the end. Yes. So now about the houses. The houses were constructed like this because in this kind of business, what is stressed most is aeration. If the ventilation is bad, the birds will not lay because they need more air than the sun. Yes, so we try to put up these houses so that we have more parts that are bringing in air than the ones that are bringing in the sun. That is why you see the way this one is constructed, that is how the other one is constructed.
Okay, so now you decided that you've retired, you built your house, and then you build these structures. Why did you choose layers?
Now, any poultry farmer chooses whatever he or she wants.
Okay.
Me, I chose layers because even at home we were doing layers.
Oh, okay.
So I had some knowledge on rearing layers. And when you look at layers, yes, there are challenges as you begin rearing them from their chick to the number of months before they start laying.
Yeah.
Yes, there are challenges there, like from their first day up to like 5 months before they start laying. You're just feeding, you're just putting in. Yet people who rear broilers want quick money. But for us, we want these ones because after 5 months, they start laying and they lay between 18 months to 24 months. So that is a longer period when you're getting money. So for us, we prefer layers to broilers.
Okay. Running a farm for 8 years, it's not something simple. You must have faced some challenges. What are some of those challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them?
Now, one of the challenges we were facing, number one, the feeds. Sometimes the feeds are high.
Just like now, the way the prices
just like now, and the prices of the eggs are low. But like any other business, when you get challenges, you're not supposed to run away from that business. You persevere until the prices go down, and when you see that they are down, when the prices of the feeds are down, the prices of the eggs go up. I don't know.
What causes that?
Sincerely, but that is how
Someone should do research about
Yes.
it. We can't have
Most
the prices
cases,
high
yes.
and the prices of eggs are down.
Most cases, that is how it is. Except for a few times when the feeds are high and the eggs are high. But most cases, when the prices of the eggs are high, the prices for the feeds are low. So during that period, when you are getting challenges, then during that period when the prices of the eggs are high, then you can count some of the profits that were lost the other time when the feeds were high. So when we get challenges in the poultry farm, we are not supposed to give up, just like any other business. Yes. Then another challenge we were having, like before we got this system, we were using feeder, we were using drinkers. You will see them, they are down there, the drinkers. Yeah. Now you see these ones, these yellow feeders are 87 because the birds are many. Now we were placing drinkers in between where we get space because the birds are supposed to have enough water. So you cannot put in like 15, 20 drinkers because the birds are many. So we're putting in so many, like 30 drinkers so that the birds can take enough water, because if they do not get enough water, they will not lay eggs. Now, because the drinkers were many, the water was pouring down. So if you have a drinker there, you have a drinker here, you have a drinker there. So when the water here pours, when the water on the other drinker pours, then the whole house will become wet. And if it is wet, the birds will get sick. If the birds are sick, then you're going to get money to buy drugs. Rearing is very tiresome. That's why we tell people that you begin a project that you have passion in. When you have passion for anything, you'll have hands-on and eyes-on. you must, especially this project, you must be there. If you're not there, if the project is in Ruwera and you're sleeping here, you're wasting your time. Because you just call.
Telephone
have you
farming.
checked the water? Then they say yes. You're not there.
Okay, how old are they?
Now these ones are 15 months. Okay. From day one. Now, how do we manage? Because I said we have workers outside, you see them? They advise us that every 1,000 birds, we are supposed to place one worker. But these ones are not 2,000. Even if they are 1,500, they are 1,700, for us we put in 2 each. Now, 2 each, these ones can manage properly. Because when we begin in the morning, we begin by putting in feeds. Then after putting in feeds, we clean. Like you see now, they are going to sleep. After they are going to sleep, even here they will sleep all over these poles. When they sleep here, of course, at night they make more droppings than during that day. Now, when you wake up in the morning, like there where around the tanker, there's a lot of droppings. Even here, because they sleep here up, even here they are dirty. So we clean them on a daily basis. These ones using water. You clean here and even here, because for it, when they stand here up, because their feet is dirty, so these ones go inside. And then when when they click here on the water, then the water goes here. And if it is dirty, they will get sick. And then you have to buy drugs. So we definitely clean them on a daily basis. And even those droppings, we also remove them on a daily basis. So after giving them these ones, the feeds in the morning, so we start cleaning the droppings. And then afterwards, after cleaning there and even there around, so the droppings are, because we want cleanliness, then we start raking down.
You shuffle
We use rakes, so that if you do not rake, because the droppings have water, and if you do not rake, they are going to become caked. And if it becomes caked, those are diseases. So you must manage the litter by raking on a daily basis. Otherwise, it will become wet and you get challenges. So the 2 people, as they rake, they are supposed to ensure that the eggs are picked. Because we have hours, that now from this hour to this, there are so many birds that are laying. So like you spend like 15 minutes or 10, you go around. 15 minutes or 10, you go around picking the eggs. Because if you do not pick them, they eat them from inside. Because when there are many birds inside and the eggs are too many inside, they step on them and then they get broken and they eat them from inside. When they eat them, you are losing. So definitely you must give them time so that the eggs are picked. They know the time. Then another thing for me, you know now these days, these youngsters want to use phones all the time. For me here, you arrive here and rule number 1, the phone remains in your room.
That's interesting. Okay, so you mentioned about feeds, and of course it's one of the biggest challenges that most farmers, if not all, face in Uganda. How do you navigate the issue of feeds?
Definitely. Some of us who do not have big areas, pieces of land to plant maize, definitely we have nothing to do. We wait until the prices go down. You definitely have nothing to do. If you decide to reduce the number of feeds, kilos you're supposed to give to the birds, they will not lay. So we just wait that in these months, 1 or 2, 3, we shall have this challenge, and then the next months, things will normalize. Save for those people who have planted their own maize, maybe for them they can have a bit of relief, because you take your maize to the mill and then things are okay. But for us, we just wait until prices normalize.
You advise that if someone has where to grow maize,
if they have pieces of land, large pieces of land, they can grow.
Wow, it looks like the issue of feeds, we can't run away from it.
We cannot run away from it. Yes, because some people reduce the number of kilos they are supposed to give to the birds, and when you reduce them, the birds will not lay. Because as they grow, you add on the grams that a bird is supposed to take. Yes, because at day one, there are grams, number of grams you're supposed to give that chick. So as every week you add, until they start laying, and even after laying, you add some grams of feeds, depending on the age.
Okay. Okay, you mentioned about the prices of eggs and all that. You're in Nakasajja. Where do you sell your products? Where do you sell your eggs?
Some are taken by some locals here, but others, we have some other people from, one is from Bweyogerere, another one is from Gayaza. Okay. But also if people around want to buy from us, we give them an opportunity too.
Okay.
Yes.
So you don't have any issues with the marketing of your products?
No, I do not, because I don't even have enough for the people who are taking the eggs.
What?
Yes.
That's interesting, because so many farmers might worry about where to sell their products when they're doing poultry farming.
Now, if you are in this project and you know at the end of the day you're going to be having eggs, before they start laying, you must start looking for market. Market will not find you there. You also try your best. So you start looking for people who are buying eggs from farmers. You get this one, you get the other one. Then at the end of the day, you see who is giving you the best prices.
How much is the tray right now from your farm if someone came to you?
From the farm, it is 10,500. But some want to give you 10, but right now that is what we are giving out to those ones that are buying from us.
I know someone who is following us, and they have been following the channel for long. They are waiting for me to ask this question, woman to woman. Do you think poultry farming is something most women should engage in?
Yes. But I will also add this, that if you have passion for that exact project, if you just hear someone who is doing poultry farming and has benefited from that project, and you also go in for it, but when you do not have that passion for that exact project, you might fail. Because as I said earlier, that if you do not have passion for anything that you're going to do, you might fail to supervise it, because this kind of project is supposed to be eyes on, hands on. Yes. So, but I encourage everybody, not even women alone, everyone who has space to have this kind of project, because you can have it at home and you also go and work in town or elsewhere. Yes, but by the time you leave, you have already supervised, because supervision is key in this kind of project. Now, like for us, we wake up at 5. I also wake up, because if you don't wake up, they wake up at 5, they come in the stores and sleep. So I also wake up at 5, yes, because the birds are supposed to eat as early as that. We were even advised that they are supposed to start eating at 4, but you know sometimes we get tired and you sleep. Then I said, no, let us wake up at once at 5, we give them, and then we start doing other things.
When do you start waking up from 5? At what age when these birds?
When they have started laying.
Oh, when they start laying.
Yes, but when they are still young, at chick level, there you don't sleep, like for 2 months.
Another tip about general management of the farm?
Now, like when we get out at around 11 to 11:30 there. Definitely they are tired, they have to take some break tea. It is not breakfast. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this your maize?
Maize, but it is not intended for the feeds.
Yeah, but it looks so...
It is healthy. Yes. Because now we put in the manure. But the manure we put in before we plant.
And some beans as well.
Yeah. You utilize the space that you have to ensure that you get everything.
It looks like you really love farming.
I do. I do. Now, like, you cannot go out to buy things when you have space. Yes. Now, it has been a rainy season. Then you tell us that you cannot even put up something small like that. Now, you see the tanks there?
Oh, this is the main reservoir, that one?
No, they are just tanks because we use rainwater. So those are the challenges that we still have. We are supposed to dig a well so that we connect and it serves around. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Some people actually believe they can't have chickens inside, like in the same setup with their houses.
You must be clean. You have to be clean. Yes, because if you're not clean, you will smell it from outside. That there is something that is going on, whether chicken, whether cows or anything. Yeah.
So this is where the story begins from.
This is where we started from.
But it's too dark, guys.
It is dark. I started with 1.5. So each house takes different numbers because of the size. Yes. This one, originally we had put in 2,000. But when you look at the chicks, they are still small. For you think that the house is big. By the time they became of age, the house was very small. So now these days we put in 1.8. But of course some die along the way. We have security.
Because it's very important.
Yeah, it is very important. Because like when you're tired, you go to sleep. And as you go to sleep, then the other people who want to come at midnight, from midnight to 4, that is their time. For you who has been working since the day you were tired and you are resting. And they also wake up. In fact, they don't sleep. They don't sleep. They come to see that you have put off the lights and you're going to bed. And they also begin from there. From midnight to 4, that is their time. So you must also do something. But one of the things that we had to do was to ensure that we enclose the entire place. It wasn't easy, but we completed.
I want to know, poultry farming, has it transformed your life in any way?
Yes, it has, because I did not retire because of age. I requested for early retirement.
Oh, why?
Yes, because I was tired of working, definitely. 2, I also wanted to give an opportunity for other people to also serve. I was working in government, in working for this local government. And when I started this business, I did not start after retiring. No, I started before. You cannot begin a project when you're out of the job. You begin when you're still there.
Wait, okay.
Because when you start a business, when you're out of the office, suppose it doesn't work out. And yet you have already requested your boss that I want to leave office, and they have given you a leeway that you're free, you can go. And then you come and begin. No, you're supposed to begin a project when you're still in office.
Okay.
By the time you come out, you have already seen the challenges, you have known the market, you have known the people you're supposed to work with, you have gotten the suppliers, you have gotten the workers, and you have seen how business is running. So by the time you put in your request to leave, everything here on ground is moving smoothly.
Okay. All right. So we're still talking about how it transformed your life.
How it transformed my life? Yes, because you know us, we were salaried people. You wait for money at the end of the month.
Of course.
You're supposed to drive to the office, you come back. Now, when you calculate the amount of money that you get at the end of 30 days, and yet here we get money, 1 on a daily basis, 2 on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis. I did not have these when I was still there. Some of these things were as a result of these birds, because I started with 1. When I was at the office, I had the other one. So when you begin with 1, you make sure that that one creates another one. So the other one created this. So I started with this and the other one. So this one created the other one. Now, when you lay off, then you say, I'm going to buy land somewhere, because you're getting money out of this. So for me, I have done some things that I did not do while I was at the office. So I am very grateful that I made a decision to leave early when I'm still energetic. And to also give an opportunity to other people to also serve in my position, to see what I was going through. Yes. Yeah, someone thinks, no, this one is here, is not doing anything. No. Let me go, move aside, and then you step there, and then you also serve your country. So that I can also come and serve my country in this other
Actually, I think
areas.
you're even serving it better because you're feeding the nation.
Yes, I am, because people benefit. By the way, the people around here benefit in this project. They do benefit. And in this poultry farming, everything you sell, everything you see here, we sell. The eggs we sell. In the eggs, we have the damage. You know the damage?
Yeah.
We also sell them. People come. Me, I didn't know they sell them until the people around came. Then they were telling me, Madam, do you have damage? Then I said, what is damage? Me, I didn't know what damage was. So they told me. Then I said, even those ones we give out, because these people were eating them. But of course, there are many.
Yeah.
Then I started selling them. So they eat at breakfast, but we also remain with others that people come and buy. Now, this litter, when it takes some months, you remove it. You will see it outside. So it becomes manure.
Yeah.
So the manure is also taken by people. So someone comes with a fuso outside, and then they take it. A bag we sell at 1, 2, because this area there are so many farmers. But in an area where farmers are few, it is like at 25. Yes. So everything we buy, we sell. Now, these ones, when they are done, you let them off.
And that's also
and
money.
there you're getting money. Now, if you add the amount of money that you are getting at the office after 30 days, is far, far less than the amount of money you get on a weekly basis. The money I get on a weekly basis is higher than the money I was getting on a monthly basis. In just one house, this one. We have not gone to other houses. So when I say that it has transformed my life, definitely, I might not tell you that I've done this, but me, I know it has. Because this place was not like this, especially for people who knew where I was staying when I was still at the office.
All right, and I would beg to end this conversation here because, as you can see, it's dark outside, and of course we can't be on the farm this entire time, but maybe we shall have more interactions with Madame Olivia. Like, we realize she's someone who is experienced, and of course would love to know more about the experience. But for now, if you think you've learned something from this video, or if you find it very insightful, kindly like it and share it to the rest of the people. All right, until next time, bye-bye from Nakasajja.